Okay. So today we are discussing about this AWS organization, right? So first we need to understand how organizations will end up with creating multiple accounts. So in general, as I told you, it's a natural evolution that you might have to have segregation across different workload. So some business application might need to be compatible for some legal security requirements like PCI standards, and some application need not be PCI standard, and so on. So different application will have different security requirements, different environment has to be segregated by workload and so on. So what customers will generally follow is that they will follow two architecture pattern. One, they will create one AWS account, and then they will segregate the workload at the network level. So they will create different network VPC for each of your production test and other environment. Similarly, if you have different business unit segregation that is needed, they will create different network for each of your business application or business unit, and they will have it as a separate VPC within the same AWS account. But ideally, you should have multiple account and multiple VPCs. Okay, that is the second architectural practice that is most commonly followed by the large size organization, and that is the demo I have shown you, right? And during the network class, we have seen how to create multiple VPCs and how to create subnets within that. So that is a very normal thing that anyone can do. So if you want to clearly isolate the business at the account level, so that is I mean, you have to create a separate account and then have VPCs created in the respective AWS account. So this is the pattern that is very much helpful, because you can isolate not just the network. Okay, so here you're just isolating only the network level for each of your business unit or each of your environment. So if your account is compromised, then all your environments are into trouble. Whereas here you have the benefit of having you have a lot of benefits of having multiple AWS account. So you can isolate your data, you can isolate the attacking surface. Okay, I mean, here the lateral attack, I mean, you can they have a different word for that. So you can just go and access other resources if they are compromising the AWS account. So here the attacking surface is a very um, um, fine-tuned to selective resources and selective accounts. For example, if the test account is compromised, that doesn't mean your production and development will be impacted, right? So you have very good level of isolation, so you can store different auditing data and backup in different accounts, and you can regulate it. You can separate accounts based on your legal regulatory requirements. For example, if I have some application that needs to be PCI compliant, I can create a separate account saying PCI compliant application, and I can run those here. And then non-PCI standard application, I can have it in a separate AWS account. So it is easy to understand which accounts are purposed for what purpose. You can create it for different business unit, different department, different legal requirement, different security requirements. And again, you can also get separate bill for each of your consumption at your AWS account level. So each business unit can get a separate bill, separate detailed one. And you can combine all of them together into one particular concept called organization. See, from building aspect, it gives you a lot of granular details at the account level, well and good. Similarly, you get security segregation, that is also good, and you also get option to go and isolate your environment, and that is what this is going to help you by creating multiple AWS account. But when you are managing them, when you are governing them, it is going to be complex, because you are having multiple accounts, multiple resources created in them, and then maybe some users and group might need to have access across these environment. For example, an administrator might need to have access to development, sandbox, production, and all those resources. So he cannot have separate accounts created or separate user account created for each AWS account. So that way it is becoming very complex to manage. So managing users, security and compliance will be becoming very, very hard when you have multiple accounts. So you will have hundreds of accounts created. And if you want to solve this problem, then AWS organization is the solution through which you can go and bring all the organizations together into one particular management umbrella. and then you can manage them. So security management across AWS account will be much simplified, and you can also apply policies across different accounts at the central level, and you can also get a consolidated bill if you want to see the consolidated bill at the organization level. You can also get them there, and you can also for consistency purpose you can also send apply policies, apply some best practices, and you can also have a centralized governance across your AWS account. So if you have multiple account, then when I say multiple, like more than 3 or 4, then AWS organization makes a lot of sense. It is an account management service when you have more than 3 4 accounts. So it is going to help you with centrally managing all those AWS account, not just from a security aspect, not just from a isolation aspect, even getting some budgets allocated, getting consolidated bills, applying some security compliance based practices and standards. So you can do all these things at a centralized console. So you can also create users using Identity Center, and you can use those users to log into different AWS account within your organization. So you can have a group based account management, policy based access to the services, automated account creation can also be done. So I showed you how to create an AWS account, right? So from the AWS organization console, you can easily create as many number of AWS account you want, and you can um, centrally manage and govern, and you can also scale your resources in whatever accounts you want to create. And AWS accounts are natural boundaries for permission, security, cost, and workload. So you get isolation at all these level. Okay, so using multiple account is the standard practice or recommended best practice from AWS when you want to have multiple different environments, multiple different business units migrated to AWS cloud platform. Then you need to create multiple AWS account. When you have multiple AWS account, then you need to manage it using AWS organization. So the benefit of managing multiple AWS account from one central place is the primary benefit. And also you can get a consolidated bill of the master account and the management member accounts. And then you can also go and hierarchically organize them based on your organizational structure, like how you create OU in Active Directory. Similarly, you can create a organizational unit structure within your organization where you can go and have a lot of sub OUs. For example, I will show you something like this. So you can have OU1, OU2, and within that you can add multiple member accounts. So this OU can be a production OU, and you can have multiple AWS account within that, or you can have one AWS account within that OU. So it depends on case to case. See, like for example, some companies might have development 1, development 2, and so on. Some companies might have QA1, QA2. So there might be multiple AWS accounts that might be needed in a particular organization. So you can create an organizational unit, and you can add as many number of AWS accounts within that, and you can add the resource, create the resources within that particular OU. So OU is mainly to group the similar AWS accounts that you want to combine them and then apply the policies in a easier way. So mainly to have the policies applied from the centralized console is the second main benefit. Other than management, you can also standardize whatever tags that you want to apply across all your AWS account. So that is another thing. You can push tags across all accounts, and you can also control artificial intelligence and machine learning services also, and collect their data from one single console. You can also enable automatic backups for all the resources in all your accounts from one single place. I will show you how to enable these policies. It is pretty straightforward. So when you go and log into your organization, so you have the option called policies. So you can go and enable one by one. If you want to automate adding tags to all your account, if you want to configure automated backup to all your AWS account resources, and if you want to have permissions and policies governed from central console, you can enable all of these things. So it is by default, many of them are enabled. So you can see these are all disabled here. I will show you how to get them enabled. You can just go and say enable backup policies, and you can get them enabled in a quick way. And you can also go and create policies to configure a policy stating that which AWS accounts are critical, and you can also say in production account every single resource have to be protected, and you can have consistency across all your backup plans. So you can have the schedule created from one central console, and you can enable as many policies you want. So you have option to go and opt in and opt out. If you don't want to control it from the organizational level, you can also disable it. So that is another main feature that you can have automated backup enabled through the policy, and you can also integrate with AWS IAM. So organization, as I told you, we saw that demo, right? So we can create users in IAM, and then you can give permissions to the different accounts in your organization. So that integration and support is definitely there, so no doubt in that. And also you can go and add as many number of tasks, services, and all accounts that are member of this organization. And also it gives you API to go and integrate with third party applications, and even your additional uh, tools that you want to integrate. So those are all some high level benefits. When it comes to feature, again, it's all pretty much similar language, but I will just highlight the key important benefits of organization. Single sign on, you can apply service control policy. You can use your existing Active Directory environment for integration, not just Active Directory, right? Even I told you can use ping identity and other third-party solutions that are there. And also you can give resource allocation management. I'll show you how to create resource manager and how to use this feature. This is an interesting feature. I will explain it in detail. And also you can activate AWS CloudTrail from one single location, and you can get all the logs from different accounts from one single place. Okay, so you can also activate this CloudTrail. Besides backup, logging is very important for your organization, right? So you can also enable CloudTrail. Last week we talked about what exactly you will get from CloudTrail, and also you get a single consolidated bill in the AWS organization feature. And you can also track the cost at the account level if in case you want to track it, and then you can also optimize using compute optimizer. So we will see these practical later about the cost explorer and the compute optimizer. So these are all optimization tools which can help you to optimize the usage and reduce the cost. So you can also give permissions, delegations from the central console. Permissions can be done. You can also apply the tags and policies from central console. You can also group the accounts into OU, whichever is related to each other. And you can also simplify the way that you can create the account and so on. So that is there. So when it comes to key terminologies, key concept. So in a organization with multiple AWS account, if you want to manage all those account in a hierarchical central location, then organization is the solution that we generally go and use, right? And then within that AWS organization, what is that you will add? You will add AWS account. So AWS account is created for having your business application or workloads resources created in AWS, and then now we can just call it as a high level logical container or a isolation point for your AWS resources. The very first account that you add while you are creating an organization, that account is called the management account or the master account. And within that master account, whatever additional account that you are adding to that particular organization, all those accounts are called member account. So other than the management account, master account, any other account that you add, everything is considered as a member account. And if you have multiple accounts that needs to be combined together, then you can have this OU concept, where you can group the similar accounts into one particular logical container, and you can apply policies, permissions in an easier way. So I will show you how to create a service control policy, and then it is again JSON document driven thing. So you can control permissions on what actions you can do in your organization. Yesterday we saw some demo on how to use IAM policy. So here also service control policy also gives you options to go and control what kind of service actions that they can perform on each of your services. So I will show you that. And see, administrative root, it is the topmost container by default. It gets created. As I showed you, by default, you will see a root account. and this root account will have all your accounts by default, and if you need to have different classifications, you can go and change it. So by default you will have administrative root account, that is the starting point, and that is the topmost container in your organization. It starts from the root. Okay, so it starts from the root, and within the root you will have multiple OUs, and within that OU you can have multiple member accounts, or you can directly add member accounts directly to your management account or your root account. So OU is mainly for grouping different AWS account that belongs to an organization in order to have some for example, you might have 10 production AWS account, 5 development accounts, so you can combine them together as you want, and then it is easier to apply specific policies and standards for production set of accounts, development set of accounts, because like maybe development you can start the backup somewhere around 8 o'clock. For production you might need to start the backup after 10:30 or 11. So certain things can be common across certain accounts, so you can have those centralized policies, permission management, tagging management, and all those stuff becomes much easier. So and consolidation also gives you the consolidated billing, and you can also use the same user to log into different account from using the identity center. So identity center and your organization go hand in hand. So you can also automate the creation of AWS account. I showed you how to create it manually and how to invite existing accounts to the organization. But if you can also create Lambda functions or scripts to automate the new account creation based on your need. And also you can apply rules, apply policies, apply auditing and compliance using service control policy. I will explain service control policy detailed way, don't worry about that. So granting access to certain applications, certain services can be done from one central location, and also you can share cross account resources. So for that we need to create something called resource manager, and I will show you how to create resource manager and how to give permissions using that. So you can also integrate with AWS Directory service or different identity solutions using this organization feature. Okay, the very first account that you create in your organization, it's called the master account or the management account. So that is the account that will be used for doing all these things. So generally the management account will not have any other workload. It's only for management and governance, to create some service control policies or to apply some tagging policy, backup policies, and all those stuff. So this account is purpose built for management, and the management team will have access because you will get consolidated billing in this master account or the management account. So this will not have any other workloads. Okay, it is purpose built for applying the controls, monitoring the access, checking who has got what level of access. You can get report, and also you can keep track of all the access management, policy management from one central location. And for each of your AWS account, you can have a contact number, you can have an email ID, and you can also enforce MFA for all your member accounts from your master account. So master account and management account are the same. So mainly the management team will have the access to the management account. Member accounts will be given access to respective business unit or respective teams, whoever is managing it. So generally this is how it looks like. You'll have a centralized root account, and within that you will have a IT OU or engineering OU or development production OU. So within each department you will have you can also have OU as a member of OU. If in case you want to have sub OUs also, you can do it, and you can go and create multiple AWS accounts under that each organizational unit. Okay, so the very first thing in your organization, you create AWS account, and then you can add them, you can invite them, or you can directly add them. You can group them under OU, and then you can apply policy. So this is the intention. Okay, first intention is having all the AWS account centrally managed, governed, and you can also group them by business unit or environment, and it is easier to apply the policies, permissions, and the controls that you want to do in your company, in your organization. So any questions so far on this one, on the organization theory part? We'll also see the service control policy a little later. So I'll show you how to apply those policies and stuff once after we have some workloads created. So if you want to go and invite some accounts, you can just go and invite it here and then add them. I also showed you how to do that. You can also go and give some permissions to specific resources. The identity center is already integrated. So if you want to give additional access to other services, you can also give them. You can enable trusted access. Okay, you can also configure them. If in case you want to add any additional services, you can get them added. Let me just go back. So there is no cost. Okay, that is another important point. Like your IAM service, there is no cost for your organization. It comes free of cost. It's only for centralized management and simplifying things. Okay, so I can give you some benefits for reference so that you can refer it later. So these are the benefits which we discussed. So I'm just going to share this Excel with you so that way you can refer these points for any interview features, then benefits. Fine. Yeah, features and benefits are not big. There is no big difference between them. Most of them are the same. Okay, so you have the same set of. Oh, okay, I've just copy pasted the same thing. Sorry. Yeah. So these are the features. Any questions from anyone on organizational unit or identity center? Okay, if not, let's move on to see the practical demo. Okay, so we already created it at the beginning of the session, so it's pretty straightforward. You can just go and do this. You can just look at as a list here also. Managed from your identity center. So currently I've got only one account which is added. So how do we add more accounts here? So I can just say go to organization console here and go and click add an AWS account. And I can just say, see, generally we might need to have multiple AWS account. Um, for segregation of your environment or segregation of your business unit and so on. So I can go and create a new account if I want. I can just show you how to create something new here. So I will just call it as sandbox. And then I can just give that AWS with stan plus sandbox at gmail.com. So this should be fine. Create it. So it will create a new account under your existing organization. So that way it is going to take some time and then it will create it. So while it is taking some time, I can also invite some AWS accounts. So if I go and say add a AWS account, if I already have a AWS account, I can enter the name of the account or account ID, or else I can also give the email address. See, for example, if I say AWS with Stan plus logging account or some production account or SIEM account, okay, I can just give that. And then if I say invite this account, it will send the invitation. Okay, so just click on this send invitation and then it will send an invitation here, and the invitation is valid for 15 days. Okay, so you should log into your inbox and then go and accept that invitation. So when you click on this accept, you have to be logged into that other AWS account which you are accepting. So in this case, AWS with Stan SIEM account. Okay, so you can either enter the account ID or you can enter the email ID. So this is the invitation that was sent from my primary account, which is the management account. And the invitation, I can say I'm going to accept it. So once I accept the invitation, then automatically this account will get added to your management account, which is AWS Stan prod. I'll explain what is management account, what is member account. So now this account is a member of your AWS organization. So if you want to leave this organization, you can click this leave this organization. So for all these things, you have to go to organization service, and then you have to manage all these activities. So it is for centralized governance and management of multiple AWS account. See, in any company which is large in nature, so large to very large companies or corporate companies, definitely they need this AWS organization features, because as a natural evolution, they will continue to create more accounts for their workload segregation or business based on their organizational customer. I mean, they might have multiple child um, companies, they might have sister concerns, they might have and a lot of business units and so on. And if that is the case, then every organization will need multiple AWS account, and we have to use this AWS organization feature to get get things moving. So I have accepted the invitation here. So let me go and check whether that is getting reflected. So I can just refresh here and then go and check the console, the invitation. Let me refresh it. So this is the invitation that I've sent. So you can see that the invitation status is accepted. So this is how you can invite and add as many AWS account as you want in your organization. It might be for having some centralized security incident and event management, logging solution, or auditing, or you can add as you need. So I have created account, I have a joined account, so you can do it either ways. Okay, if you want to create new account and get them added to organization, you can do it by the creating a new account, or if you want to join a account which is already exist, you can just give that and add it. Now each account will have its own account number, which we call it as account ID. It also has a unique email address for each of your account, and this is the way you can manage multiple accounts. So I will show you how to log in from your identity center. So if you look at this identity center, I can just go and refresh it. Now it should reflect all the AWS account which has been created and joined to the AWS organization. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. I'll accept. I'll attend this call. Okay, so you can see that multiple accounts are getting reflected now in your identity center, and so whatever users and groups that you have used created, you can now log into those accounts. See, in generally in your organization, you might have a similar console like this. Let me show you. So this is the console that you will have. You can customize it. See, based on your organization name, I can just click on this edit, so you can go and give whatever name you want. So if you want to have your organization name, you can just have that. So skill up the stand, you can enter the organization name in your real case. So submit the child. Okay. Okay, so once after you do that, you will get it, and you can also customize. You can add some images, you can do some fantasy stuffs if you want to. But then let me copy this link. I can just go to my new incognito window, and then here I can just enter that particular link. That way it will take me to AWS organization login. I will also try to use the account. So it is asking me to log in here to skill up with Stan. So here in reality, you will have your company name here. So here I'm using my training academy name. So I will also create one more account with some credentials. Okay, fine. So generally, like this, you will get. Okay, let me also add him to. Okay, that is fine. In cloud operations is not needed. Let me just add the user. So now I will get the instruction in my inbox where I can go and get the credential. So you'll get an email like this, okay? So invitation to Stan Raj, your administrator account has been created and you can accept the login here. So once after I accept the login, I can just directly go and log in with my account. Okay, so it is asking for confirming a password. I can just give some password. So you have to follow the complexity requirement. I can just set the new password is publicly known through a data leak. Okay, fine. Then I will just go with something else. Let me see if I have some other password which we had yesterday. So I will reuse that complex one. Okay. So this is what we had yesterday, right? Let me try to use that. Okay, and then see if that allows me. Fine. Okay. So that password looks to be complex and it is allowing me. So I'm able to log into skillabustan.apps. Now I can see multiple accounts. So let me just go and enter it here. Click on next, enter the password, sign in. So you can see that it is asking me for additional authentication. I will use multi-factor authentication. I'll go for Authenticator app and I can go and install the application like I did yesterday. And then I can go and open that Authenticator application, go and scan it out. And then let me just click on add. It's a personal account. It's a scan the code. I can just scan it out. Okay, so it is added. So let me just 1 second. It says new app version is available. I cannot install it now. 379.983. 379.983. Assign the MFA. Okay, done. So if you want to rename it to whatever you want, you can just update it. Okay, done. So now you are logged into AWS Organization and you will start seeing multiple accounts. So currently I have not given any permission to any application, but I have logged in and I can add additional MFA device. I can register it. So this is how you will have the initial login. And then let me show you how to get additional things done here. So go to your identity center and here you will see the multiple accounts listed. Okay, so let me just go and select the accounts that I want Stan to access. Maybe I will just select only a couple of them and then I can assign user or group here. Yeah, I'll just give only 2 accounts, okay, just for making the concepts clear. So you can give a permission to a selected user, but generally we give it via the group, as I told you yesterday. So group-based access management is the best way of handling it. So here, unlike your permissions, here we call it as permission set. Yesterday we talked about role, right? So here we call it as permission set. It is the exact same thing. Okay, you can create managed roles, or you can also manage. Create inline policy. Let me show you that. So you have 2 options. Either you can go and create a policy set. 1 minute. Okay. Let me go and show you that. So here you can go and create a permission set, and this permission set is a group of permissions. Okay, so you can give administrator, or you can use the predefined permission set, like how we did yesterday. If you are giving permission to a database administrator, it will give permission to all AWS database services. If you're giving network administrator, all network resources. So likewise, like if you are giving permission to a FinOps person, financial operation person, then you can give them access to billing and so on. So you can also give view only access if you have a level 1 team or a new joiner who you want them to go and access the different resources and then see how the organization is configured. You can give them view only access across all the account, or read only access also is fine, so they can go and read some of the content. See, if I am giving view access, it will give access to resources and the metadata across all services. Okay, so you can just try to give whatever appropriate. So you can also go and create custom permission set. You can just go and change. Some organization might have level 1 team, level 2 team, level 1 administrator, level 2 administrator, and even within database team they might have level 1, level 2. So if that is the case, you can go and customize the list of tasks that each of the level 1 or level 2 team will perform, and you can go and remove the non-appropriate things. For example, maybe L1 team should not delete the RDS instance. Level 2 team can modify the RDS instance. Level 3 team can delete the RDS instance. So that way you will have a complete RASI matrix, responsibility matrix, and based on that you can go and create custom permission set, and you can keep adding them. Okay, so permission set is a group of permissions that you can assign. So for now I will just assign administrator permission for Stan, and here the permission set name, you can give whatever name you want. And then this is what I was talking about yesterday. So you can give a session duration. So if I'm logging in and doing some activities, this permission set will give me permission up to 12 hours continuously to work. So it's not that you need to just go with the even numbers. You can also go and click on custom duration, and you can enter 5 hours or 7 hours or 9 hours or whatever you want. So custom duration option is there. So you can just give them access to continuously log in and continue their work for maybe based on their shift timings. You can give 12 hours or 9 hours or 8 hours. So in most of the geographical regions, 8 hours is the standard time, but some companies also work for 12 hours or 9 hours. So you can give them continuous login, and then after this time their session will time out and they might have to re-log in again. So you can just give that. Okay, maybe let me limit it. So if it is good to have lesser duration, so that even if the account gets compromised, they will be asked to log in again. And okay, let me create it. Now I've created an administrator access, and it is in provisioning state. So it will take a couple of minutes to get provisioned. And once it is ready, okay, so you can just go and refresh your console, and then you will start seeing the accounts that you are assigned to. Okay, as I told you at the beginning of the session, so with Identity Center, you can give permission to applications, AWS account, either third-party accounts, the applications, or the native applications. So here also you can go to applications and you can give them permissions for those users. Okay, or the group, whatever the method you want to. So customer managed applications can be added here, but then if you want to give permission to AWS managed services, you can just go and add them. So you have a lot of application, so you can select it from the catalog, or if you want to add your own organization application, you can go and add them. But as I told you, the application has to be compatible with OAuth, Open Authorization 2.0 version, as well as SAML 2.0 version. So these are all prerequisite. If you want to add your own application access to a particular user in your organization, you need to add those applications. But you can also go and add some applications from the catalog. There are hundreds and hundreds of applications that are available, so you can just add whatever you want. Just for some example, let me see. Okay, let's assume that the person is part of the DevOps team and he needs to be granted access to Atlassian set of tools like Bitbucket, and all Atlassian suite of products. You can just enable them. You can select multi-select the applications that you want, and then you can just below is the information. Okay, so how you have to add them. So you can just go and change the properties and then give them session timeout and all those things, and you can just add it. But then you need to add the sample metadata file. Okay, so or else you need to give the details of the URL of the Atlassian application from your. So you will get that from your organization, and you can add as many application as you want here. So let me try to install a sample application, and I will show you how to get them added. Okay, but for now, let's see if the permission set is provisioned and whether it is ready. Okay, so let me, so creation time 2 minutes. Okay, let's see. Let's wait for, okay. So also you can just go and check the active sessions here, and also you have the option to go and delete their session. You can also see from which IP they have logged in and which laptop and the browser that they have used to log in. All those information will be available here. Okay, so that is something which you can manage here. So you can also customize the profile, and then let me try to re-log in. So it will take some time for things to, I'll sign out and sign in again. But again, it takes at least 2 to 5 minutes, but I'm just trying to see if I can finish this demo. So we have a lot of theory to understand about AWS organization. I'll come to that part shortly. So MFA code. Okay, so it is taking some time. Okay, let us do one thing. Let us go and discuss some theory out of this, and then we will continue. Okay, so this is how you can create an organization and add additional resources. You can also add some OU if you want. For example, if you want to have some group of accounts for a different business unit, and sometimes you might also have multiple production applications. So what we generally do is we go to organization and then create a OU. Okay, so OU is for organizing your accounts in aligned to your organization strategy. So you can also go and do that. Let me just have this root, go to AWS organization. Did we? Okay. Okay, so we are yet to complete the screen. Okay, so I thought like we did it. So 28 minutes back we created the permission set, but we did not apply it. So that's, I mean, I was just wondering why that did not work. Okay, so what I did is like I selected a user and then I tried applying permissions to them, to these accounts, at least Stan, Prod, and SIEM. So I've given administrator access for Stan. Now let me try to log in or refresh. I don't think there is a refresh that is, I mean, a login, you can just refresh it and try. Okay, most probably it should work. Yeah, it is working, right? So this is how you will go and see the different AWS account that you have to manage, different application that you will have access and all those things. It is pretty straightforward. And within that, if you want to log into your prod account, you can just go and say log into prod account, and then it will take you to the production AWS account. So that way you can sign into multiple AWS account and log in from one single console. Okay, so this is how in real scenario you will have access to the corporate AWS accounts. Small organization might not have multiple AWS accounts, so directly you can log into the AWS account like how we used to do it in the um, earlier sessions, right? So you can just go and do whatever you want from this console, right? And I will have access to do whatever task based on my role, based on my permission set. Okay, so what we missed is we have missed to complete that wizard. Okay, so this wizard was quite open, and you need to create a user, and then you just need to apply permissions set, and then complete that. So I was wondering why permission set was not completing. So the reason is like it did not get completed. This the screen was kept open. So don't have too many screens, so that creates confusion, right? So yeah. So now you can create as many number of users as you want, as many number of groups you want, and then get them added here. Then here also you can just go and go to some settings, and then if you want to change some specific settings, you can change it. So here is where you go and set up the identity source. Yesterday one of you was asking, right, on how to get my on-premises Microsoft Active Directory integrated here, or how to bring those users to my identity center. So here is where you go and configure them. Okay, I'll show you how to add an identity solution from existing identity solution. Okay, so you can also go and get certain things added. Okay, I will show you some options. So if you want to change the identity source, you can just go and change it to Active Directory. This is the option that you need to choose if you are going for Microsoft Active Directory. But if you want to go for external third-party identity center, you can just click on this one, and then you can choose whichever solution you want. Maybe it can be your ping identity, or if you, most of the organization either they will use the identity center or Active Directory. 90% of the organization will use either of these two. Some organization might use CyberArk, or maybe ping identity, or there are many solutions as I listed some time back, right? So one login and all those things can be added as an external identity provider. So mostly we will have integration to Active Directory, but we need to create Active Directory first and then get them integrated here. So with that said, we will jump into the Active Directory topic and discuss Active Directory, and I will show you how to integrate with your AWS organization. So any questions on the theory part or the demo that I've shown you? Okay, I take that as no, and then let's move on.